Hello everyone, this is Joe from Lake Elsinore. Welcome to Huell's Gold.
Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 54 of Huell's Gold. I'm Alan.
And I'm Chris. Well, last week was fun. 1 year in the bag. Old Chaz came and hung out for a little bit. What'd you think of old Chaz?
I thought he brought an interesting perspective.
Oh, yeah. I really thought... It's funny because he's not a really naturally argumentative guy, really, right?
No.
Yeah. So I thought it would be fun to get into a little bit of a debate, and it wasn't as red-hot
No, not at
debate
all.
as I thought. But it's still cool to hear that there are people who don't like Huell. I don't get it. And now that he's not here, we can say he's totally wrong. 1 year on to the next one. And really, it's funny that we spent the whole time talking about ourselves and our accomplishment when really we should have been focusing on the fact that the 6th year anniversary of Huellhauser's death was the day after that show debuted. But it was kind of cool that seems to be the day that I see the most posts on social media about Huell. Like Twitter, all on it. KCET was throwing stuff out there. In fact, you might have saw KCET threw some shine on us. Didn't see that coming.
Like it shine instead of shade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
Yep. Another thing that I saw was there's some Huell events happening in the world that I didn't even know were happening. Apparently, it's been going on for a while. We'll get more into that, but I haven't even told you this yet, that I talked to someone new about all this. Either way, where are we this week?
We're a few places.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yeah. San Joaquin Valley. Well, I'll just say the cities.
Yeah.
Lindsay, Ontario, Buena Park.
Yes. May not be the most exciting sounding, but this is...
No, it's good.
This is top notch. Well, let's just get right into it. We don't need to babble too much.
Well, then let's do it. I don't know what we're waiting for. Yeah.
He'll hit it.
It was one of those spectacular California days. Blue skies, white puffy clouds, majestic mountains off in the distance. We were in the San Joaquin Valley, near the town of Lindsay, about 55 miles north of Bakersfield. Our destination was an olive ranch, and not just any old olive ranch either. We were heading for the Graber Olive Ranch. Now this is where they pick Graber olives, established back in 1894. Graber olives have become famous all over the world as an unusually flavorful gourmet olive. And when you look at the pictures of the way they picked olives in the old days and compare them with the way things are done today, there's very little difference. I was given the tour of the ranch by ranch manager Howard Kirkpatrick, who's been with Graber 25 years. Then I met up with Manuel Benitez, the picking foreman, who's been there 27 years. And then I met up with Vicente Garcia, who's been with the company 40 years. In other words, there are a lot of people who've been a part of this company a long time. Now, the first thing I noticed during the tour was that all the pickers were working fast. That's 'cause they get paid by the box. Second thing I noticed was that they weren't picking all the olives off the branches. That's because for 100 years now, Graber picks only the ripe olives. They leave the green ones on the tree and come back later to pick them after they've gotten ripe. Now this is unique. Other olive companies pick all the olives, ripe and green, at the same time.
So, Huell mentioned Bakersfield in that clip.
Yeah.
But
I think he likes it here.
Yeah. Because he could have easily said however many miles south of Fresno, but he didn't. Even though I feel like Lindsay, where we are this week...
It looks... when I read it, I see Lindsay.
Lindsay. Speaking of Lindsay, we were talking to our old friend Steven, And remember he had that little personal note about it?
Something about his mom? Like, what was it? It was his mom and Lindsay.
I think that was the first place that his mom's side of his family had come when they immigrated.
Ah, yeah.
Either way, it would be cool to get that story from her. I haven't talked to old B in a while, but
No, just talk to Joe.
Yeah,
Not B though.
It's our friend's parents. I'm sure you're all really into that information. Either way, I didn't know that Lindsay was all about olives, even though I've seen that big red can of Lindsay olives at the grocery store my whole life. And we were speculating on the phone the other day, like, do you think the town is named after the olives, or the olives are named after the town?
Did you figure that out?
No.
Oh.
It's kind of a hard thing to Google. Like, oh, what came first, chicken or the egg? Lindsay olives. Either way. Seems like the Grabers, who we're really talking about, really have the whole market cornered on these olives.
Oh, for sure. I was thinking, too, with the name.
Graber?
I mean, us, we're fans of Kern County history.
Yeah.
Tulare history. Although we probably should be, because Tulare and Kern County were once Buena Vista County. And,
that is true.
Yeah, so we probably should care more. But,
What are you going to do? But we really did, like, we should say that the episode didn't even really start in Lindsay. There's the San Antonio vineyard winery place that Huell does the whole cold open in.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's
Does
funny
he say
that,
where that's at? Or
no, he said it's the last winery in Los Angeles. So we know it's in the greater Los Angeles area. Started in 1917 by the Rebley family. I'm curious about this. I mean, it seemed like maybe there wasn't a lot going on there, because you could tell he went there and he was ready to maybe do some story, but
just turned into an open.
But it's weird though, because in the open he has an olive in his hand, so he obviously knew. Oh, this is our intro. I don't know.
But it could have died, right? He could have tried to go there once. It died, and then he said, "You know what? This is an excellent backdrop for a future intro."
He saw these big old barrels that he's in front of. I don't know.
Well, they are cool, but
Yeah. Either way, we're in Lindsay hanging out with the Graber family. And honestly, had you ever heard of the Graber olives? Seen them anywhere?
not even a little bit.
I don't think, I mean, correct us if we're wrong. I haven't seen these in stores anywhere.
No, I was actually looking for them online. They are sold out of many places.
I know. I mean, you can get them on their website. You can order them, but
they make boxes like
gift boxes.
Gift
and
boxes,
stuff.
yeah.
This place has been around for a long time. 1894. It's a long time to be in business, which it still totally is. And unlike our second segment stuff, things are still very much the same with the Grabers, because Huell, as you heard in the clip, there's a lot of description about this place, and the production, or not the production, the
processing.
No, the growing, like I guess it is production. Does happen up in old Lindsay, and Huell's making a big deal about how it's still done the same old way, and he really he has a good old time out there in the olive grove,
orchard.
Field? Orchard. There it is, with ranch manager Howard Kirkpatrick.
Before we get going,
what I miss?
I got some bad news.
Oh man! Right off the bat,
it's been a while, dude. This whole episode's an obituary. Let me tell you.
Oh my gosh!
So Howard
Kirkpatrick, who, according to the episode, had worked for the Graber family for 25 years.
Yeah, he actually has a rich history. So this is just a few things about him. So he passed November 5th, 2009.
Okay.
At 81 years old.
Ooh, all right.
He lived a long life.
He got it.
Turns out, so he worked at the Santa Anita Raceway down south.
Really?
Well, I guess people are down south. Whatever. For us, down south.
Yeah.
And he wanted to be a horse jockey. But then he hit a growth spurt.
Yeah, the dude's like 6'5".
He's
in the
6'3". And he studied animal husbandry at UC Davis, and he was a dedicated husband and father.
All right.
And there's many examples of that, but that's basically him.
Well, he's only in it for a quick second, and then we move on to the picking foreman, old Manuel Benitez, who worked there for 27 years.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything on Mr. Benitez or Mr. Garcia.
Yeah, because Vicente Garcia, who is kind of giving Huell the little lowdown on the olive colors, he worked with them for 40 years back in 1995. So if he's still out there, which, Vicente definitely is the most elderly seeming gentleman.
So put it this way, I found his son's obituary.
Whoa. Okay. That puts it in perspective.
His son was born in 1947.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the funny thing is, really the main thing to take away from this first part is that Huell almost eats a super acidic olive. And as soon as he's like in front of this box of olives, he's with Manuel and Howard, and he's like, "Can I eat one?" And they both just throw their heads back laughing. Like, "Oh, no, it's too acidic." And he's like, oh, I don't know. And they're like, "Oh, you can try it." He's like, "I'm not going to fall for that one." And then we're already off to the next segment, right?
Yeah, it's that quick.
Well, not the next segment, but the next part of this first segment. And yeah, here we go.
Okay, so I'm a greenhorn. At least they stopped me before I ate one. And obviously there is more to olives than just growing them and picking them. So we said goodbye to our friends in the San Joaquin Valley and drove about 250 miles south to Ontario in San Bernardino County. That's where the Graber Olive House is located, where they cure, process, and can these historic olives.
So Huell is not a greenhorn, or is a greenhorn. That's what he said.
He is
right?
a greenhorn, yeah.
Now, if you live in the Kern County area, you would know that Greenhorn Mountain is near us. And that's when I first heard that, because sometimes I space out on these episodes. I'm just like, oh, okay, olives, whatever. Oh, Greenhorn, what? Is he heading to Alta Sierra? No, he's not. As you heard, he headed down to Ontario, which you've been to, right?
Yeah.
Like every day?
Every day. No,
Of 2004?
Vans had a big skate park down there.
Isn't that right by Redlands, though?
Kind of. It's on the 10. It's probably about 20 minutes. No, Redlands, no, not really. I mean,
okay.
It's weird because you would say relative, like what we're used to now. Yeah, it's pretty close. But down there's a lot of cities in between.
Yeah, true. I think I've been through it. Same. Like, I don't think I've actually been there. I definitely didn't go to the skate park because I wasn't a skate rat like you.
Yeah.
I did nothing but hang out with skaters, but I was always too scared. Because I'd always hurt myself doing everything.
You probably saved a lot of money on medical bills.
But then I got into the guitars and stuff. I just spent all my money on that.
That's true. Well, it's called a wash.
Sure. So, we're still with the Grabers. We're still with the olives, but we're at the Graber Olive House, which is like kind of like this Ontario historical landmark type of a place now. Well, I'm sure it was then, because it's been around, like I said, for over 100 years.
Yeah, so we got to meet Bob and Betty Graber.
Yep.
And he mentions Cliff, but we don't get to see Cliff till later. But the elusive Cliff.
We really only barely see Bob and Betty till the end, too.
Yeah, let's talk about these two.
Okay.
I got bad news on both of them.
I know. I saw it, too. I looked it up.
We lost Bob December 29th, 2008, at 95 years old.
Wow.
And Mary, Betty Graber.
That was weird.
People did that.
Yeah.
More so back then, but she died September of 2014. I'm kind of fuzzy on the actual day because it was published by a paper that she died that month. Anyways, couldn't find a specific date. But at 98 years old.
Wow. Man.
And Bob and her were married for 71 years.
There must be something in those olives, man.
Dude, everybody in this episode
lived
long, at least 80, yeah.
Well, I got to be honest.
The new blood's not the same.
Yeah. I got to be honest. I'm not a big olive guy.
Not at all.
Now, if it's on a pizza, black olives, I don't mind.
I still can't do it.
I still won't like take a whole black olive and pop it in my mouth. Like that's too far.
Wasn't there something how people are matched together? That's one of the tests. If one person eats an olive and the other doesn't like it,
I've never
it's
heard
some
of
funny
that.
thing like that. Yeah.
No. Does Kathleen like olives?
Oh, she loves olives.
Aaron doesn't. We both don't.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Don't tell her. But yeah, my sister loved them when we were growing up, and she would put olives on her fingers. You know how little kids do? They put olives on their fingers and eat them off. I just hated it. It would gross me out. I hated this is black food. It's so weird.
I was that way with mushrooms, though, too. Even though they're more of a brown. When they're cooked on...
No, mushrooms is my thing.
Mushrooms are your thing?
For sure.
Dude. Yeah, my dad was into that, and he would always eat mine.
So, as you heard, Bob and Betty already hit the chute. They're out of this world. But the son, Cliff, he's still kicking, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, as far as I could tell.
No, I mean, he's still running the company. He's totally...
The person we see later is Cliff the Second. So I don't even know.
No, I think that can't be. Really? No, it would make sense, though.
That does make sense, yeah.
Because he doesn't look like... Because if they were already in their 70s at that point, their son wouldn't have been like 30, you think?
No.
Either
it's
way.
hard with that haircut. It's hard to tell how old he is.
We'll get there. Because we haven't even made it to Susan Palacios yet, who's our tour guide for the Graber Olive House. And I looked up old Susan Palacios to see if I could find something about her.
What'd you find?
I found that there is a woman in upstate New York named Susan Palacios who is in jail.
Oh.
And it's definitely not this lady. Like, they look totally different. And that lady has a long history of living in New York, but she embezzled a bunch of money from the landscaping company that she worked for. And...
In Ontario?
No. In some weird upstate New York place.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know what this Susan Palacios is up to. Hopefully she's still giving these informative olive house tours, because she has Huell totally enthralled in this.
Oh, yeah. Although before we get to the sorting...
Yeah.
Or, sorry, the grading. Grading
grading
first.
is what it is,
grading is the first step in the process. She's explaining from far away the whole grading process.
Mm-hmm.
And Huell just... And classic fashion, Huell fashion... just ignores, like, had no response and says, "Look at the room."
I know. This looks like 100 years ago. And she's like, yeah. Just ignoring me, huh, Huell? Okay. So, did you watch, I think we've talked about this before, you watched I Love Lucy on Nick at Night growing up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's probably, what I would say, the first
where
or
you're going.
second most famous episode.
The chocolate sorting. Or the
Yeah.
chocolate.
Doesn't this look exactly like
Dude,
that?
yeah, it does.
That same conveyor belt kind of a thing. And they're even dressed somewhat similar. They just don't have those weird chef hats that they were wearing. This definitely reminded me of that.
Do you think they ever hired a Lucy?
Yeah. Not because of that. But yeah, I'm sure. Because there's more than just two ladies doing this. But I don't know why. I have always had a weird desire to work in this kind of factory setting. We've talked about this in a different way before, because we both had a weird thing about wanting to be janitors for a while too.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't seem like it would be a hard goal to meet, but neither of us have ever been able to do it. But either way, yeah, factories. I really like that somewhat just mindless monotony of things, but you just can do it and just do it and do it and do it.
So there's that, and I think there's also the proliferation of podcasts. Like this one, but stuff we listen to.
Mm-hmm.
You could just do something
Oh, true,
in a
yeah.
repetitive way. Yeah, you can cover
That's
a lot
what,
of material.
Dude, I can't even imagine what these ladies were just thinking about in their own heads. Because in the scene we're talking about, between like 6 to 8 minutes in those times, you see the sorters doing their sorting silently. Like, why aren't they talking to each other?
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do. No one's got any headphones on. There was Walkman back then. Nothing. They're so
I don't know.
intently. Maybe the Grabers were just like real, like hard nose. No, you just sort. You don't talk. You think?
That'd be so funny.
Bob is just a real.
Stop flapping your gums.
Get the 16th inchers.
Speaking of that, did you hear what Susan said? How the initial grading machine was powered
By a Model
a
T?
Model T engine.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Because he was like, the first one wasn't electric. And she's like, yeah, no, it wasn't.
He also said something later, too. When he said, oh, this is from 42. He said, 1842?
I know.
We'll get to that, though.
Oh, man. So when they go into the vat room, the room of the olive vats, because the olives have to cure in a brine solution for 3 weeks, they walk in, and there's all these big barrel-looking things with these white lids on top of them. And come on, we all knew what it was going to happen. He was just going to walk up and just open one without asking. Now, I don't know how olive curing works, but it seems like maybe the lid needed to stay on. I don't know. Don't ask me. Too bad Bob and Betty aren't with us anymore. But
Oh, well, what are you going to do? So, in the brining room,
yeah,
we get this poor guy trying to do his job, very slowly because he's trying to show what's going on. But can we talk about Vincente? Vincente?
no, he was back up in Lindsay.
I think it's the same person, though. That's the same guy.
Is it?
Yeah.
He went with Huell all the way down to Ontario?
No, I think his son worked in the Ontario. It said the obituary said he worked with his dad, alongside his dad, in Ontario.
Huh, okay. I didn't even put that together.
Yeah. So, Vincente, can we talk about his get up there?
Yeah. Because it's quite a familiar one. If you've been listening to us babble about people's clothes on this show.
Dude, hold on. Now, you got me second guessing this. Let me verify this is Vincente.
No, I think it is.
Are you sure?
It looks like him. It would make sense. Because maybe he was just, chauffeuring Huell around or something. Because what was he? Oh, they didn't give his title. But it would make sense. Let's just say.
Okay, we're going to go with it. If we're wrong, you know what?
What are you going to do? But yeah, he's got the California's Gold interviewee uniform on. We haven't seen one in a while.
No, we haven't.
The button-up shirt with the glasses holder in the pocket.
See, I thought Howard would have been the guy.
Totally.
Not at all, though. He just wore his very distinct farmer getup. It's always the plaid short-sleeve shirt tucked into some Wranglers.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's wearing that, but Wranglers or Levi's, whatever. It's usually Wranglers.
Come
though.
on, dude. You know it's the Stranglers.
It's Wranglers.
Either way, yeah, the guy who's trying to switch out the olives, because they have to switch it out every day, that seems like a lot of work.
Yeah,
man.
it does.
For this one guy in this neon jumpsuit to have to do.
Just a 5-gallon bucket with holes drilled in the bottom.
It seems like such a tedious job that would take forever, especially with old Huell in the way. But either way, these olives seem to be a real hot commodity, not just because they are they're processed or they're canned at 200 degrees in this crazy old machine that they got, this old canning machine.
Yeah, it was steamy in the room that he came in. What was it called? The Panama Paddle Packer. That's right.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
It's this old machine that was brought over on the Panama Canal that they've been using all this time. I wish they could have seen if this machine was still...
Okay, so I looked at their website, and you could take tours through it depends on how old the website is. But you can take tours through this packing part of the process, and that machine was still there.
It said it on the thing?
Yeah,
on the tour?
it had it... Well, yeah, it had 2 guys in there. You go to their website and check it out.
Okay.
But, yeah.
That's my favorite thing that happens about... on California's Gold is when these older things that we're talking about are still the way they were in the show. That's what I want.
Well, the first thing I looked up after I heard that he, everything is done by hand. To me, I imagine the price of the product has to be pretty high.
Yeah.
And it's not crazy, but definitely I don't see myself buying olives in the future.
Well, I mean, as you heard, we're not olive people. And I don't... Well, Kathleen is, right?
She is, yeah.
Like...
I don't think she's fancy olive. This might be a good gift, though. I don't know.
Did you talk to her about this show yet?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so when you go back home, vet this out. Like, see. Because if there's one thing that the Huell's Gold audience needs to know is that the Wheelers give each other gifts super early. Like, super early. And her birthday's not that far off.
That's true.
So you could give these to her tomorrow, and it wouldn't be outlandish.
Usually, it's
What's
I'm trying to think of the rules. Like, it's allowed.
You guys don't have rules.
No, it's not rules. It's pretty lawless.
No kidding, dude. You guys were done with Christmas by like December 1st.
I'd say fair game if it's in the month.
Okay.
See, so like, December 25th, way too. We're not waiting until December 25th. If I get the gift on December 4th, she's getting it. This is the thing, though. My birthday, the 1st.
Mm-hmm. So you don't. Oh, so you'll go.
That may be an exception. I don't know. We haven't, like you said, we're writing the rules as we go. At least that's how I'm trying to.
You usually get a birthday gift before the 1st, though.
Yeah.
Like every single year
that's
that
true.
you guys have known each other.
Maybe that's the only exception.
Well, either way, I think you're well within your rights to see if she'd like this, order them, and then the day they come, give them to her.
Well, they had a bread dipping gift box.
Okay.
All about that. Yeah.
With olives, I'm sure.
With olives, but you know what?
You need some other junk in there so you can participate?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. And, if we're invited over to partake in this bread dipping, I'm going to want... me and Aaron are going to want something other than the olives, and Kathleen can just have at all the olives.
Oh, yeah. Let's get some nice Pyrenees bread.
Yeah.
We'll slice it. Olive oil. Balsamic vinegar.
Yeah.
Dip it. That's it.
Enough said.
I had to describe it that slowly, but yeah, that's what it is.
Either way, this was all talking about this crazy canner, the Panama paddle packer, this 30s era canner. And it's funny that of all the things that go on in this episode, it's this canner that gets Huell to exclaim, "This is amazing!" this time.
Yeah, I think it's older than the Panama Canal. It's like, well, it was named after.
Yes. But
ooh, what if the Panama Canal was named after the machine?
Ooh, just like Lindsay was named after the olives. So it's during this time in the paddle packer room that old Cliff Graber II shows up. And I put Cliff Graber shows up with flowing locks. Is what I wrote down.
He was donning a haircut from
for sure
that age.
And then we just see we get into the inside of the store, which is really kind of like where if you were to go to the Graber house now, which you should, it's kind of interesting seeming with the tour and this big store. There's tons of stuff in here. I love gift shops like this. I think that's part of the reason I like Solvang, because it's all these kind of gift shops. And this is where we meet old Bob and Betty, right?
Yep.
Now, earlier I was saying, oh, Bob's probably like, pounding his fist. He seems like the nicest dude in this. So I really don't think that, but there it is, Graber Olives.
And then he talks, he'll ask him, I guess, the question that he always gets asked. And that's, do you ever plan on modernizing? Right?
Yeah.
And he says, basically what I got from that is, if we could maintain the quality, sure. But I haven't
I guess
had a way
they can't.
to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, good for the Grabers. They kept it in the family. And this really is like a family business kind of episode. Like, that's what these two main places. Not so sure about the San Antonio. I'm assuming.
I didn't look it up at all, so.
We're not wine guys.
No.
We don't like olives. We don't like wine. What are we doing on this episode, man?
Like wieners.
This next place, though, this has got some stuff for us. Numerous things.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
All right. Let's let Huell tell us.
Okay.
Now our next stop was a barrel of fun, a real scream. Welcome to Knott's Berry Farm, located in Buena Park in Orange County. Now there's no doubt about it, this is one of America's favorite amusement parks, with lots of neat rides and things to do for the whole family. And it's also a place with a lot of family history.
This is a simple story about a young married couple who started this little roadside berry stand way back in 1920. Walter and Cordelia Knott began with nothing. There was almost no chance for success, and yet they did succeed. With courage and hard work, Knott's Berry Farm has grown from 10 acres of rented farmland to a massive 200-acre family attraction.
It is a wonderful story. A true story about a California pioneering family, Walter and Cordelia Knott, who moved to the sleepy little community of Buena Park back in 1920, rented some land, and started growing berries. Before long, they opened up a little stand on the side of Beach Boulevard and started selling the berries they were growing to people who stopped by. Then, in 1934, to help make ends meet, Cordelia opened up a little restaurant on the place and started selling chicken dinners served on her wedding china. Before long, the chicken dinners became so popular, hundreds of hungry customers would be lined up every day just to get in. And to give them something to do while they were waiting, Mr. Knott started recreating an honest-to-goodness western town near the restaurant. They called it a ghost town because it was made up of real buildings brought there from real ghost towns all over the West. Well, the place just kept growing and growing, and before long it evolved into the massive amusement park it is today. But even today, Mr. Knott's ghost town is still there, unchanged, and it is still the heart and soul of Knott's Berry Farm.
Okay, first thing I think we should do
Okay.
is apologize
Right.
for that scream from a horror movie at the beginning.
Yeah, that was just some footage that we don't know if Louis got that.
It seems, nah.
Because it seems like the camera is like mounted on the roller coaster. It's these girls screaming their heads off.
When I looked at the end, too, to see if he gives credit. Usually he gives credit if it's not his footage, like in the helicopters or whatever it is. And, no, he didn't give credit to anybody,
No,
so
okay.
I don't know. It's hard. Maybe it could be.
Well, either way, you heard it. We're at Knott's Berry Farm. And I have to admit, I've never been here.
I'm going to admit two things.
Okay.
Okay. Haven't been there.
Yeah.
Or here, I guess we're talking about it. And I don't like roller coasters.
Yeah, I know you don't.
I'm a total weenie, dude. It's like...
You know, for all of my life, I'm in my 30s now, up until just the last time, which maybe was 2 years ago, I was never afraid of roller coasters either. Like, not even a little bit. And the last time I went to Six Flags, I totally was getting weenied out. I don't know what it was going on. You know what it was? Which have you even been? You have been to Six Flags.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
You know how there's the Superman ride?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like Lex Luthor ride now. On the back of the Superman, it's just like a raise you up and drop you thing. Which Superman's kind of the same way, but it's a traditional one where you just like slowly and then just and it drops you down. They leave you hanging up there for way too long as far as I'm concerned. Because it gave me way too much time to think about how super dead I could be. And I started flipping. Like, I didn't tell the people I was with. I was just like internally flipping out. So I don't know how much I'd want to actually go on the rides at Knott's Berry Farm if we went.
Dude, I think compared to Six Flags, they're probably not that big of a deal. I mean, I don't know. I'm speaking out of ignorance. But let me tell you this. You know how not cool it is? When you go to your friends and they say, oh, you went to Six Flags. Oh, sick, dude. No, they said, oh, bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you used to say. And then you say, yeah, rode Ninja, Logjammer, Gold Rush.
Yeah.
You're like,
Those safe
what?
3. Yeah.
So you didn't ride Free Fall? You didn't ride what? I don't know.
You know, this brings up another little weird thing. anyone who's listened to this show, I would assume, is from California and probably knows what Six Flags Magic Mountain is all about, and may or may not also know that Six Flags Magic Mountain is partially famous for being the theme park that's in the beginning of the step-by-step TV show theme, like the credits. Have you ever noticed that in that, there's so much more like carnival-y kind of things going on there? I think if it was still like that, which there is a little section that's still like that, I think I would like it more because I like the Kern County Fair so much that if they if they took out Viper and put in like a Ferris wheel, I wouldn't be all that sad. But maybe that's just us being old idiots now. But either way, you were saying something about Kathleen being all about Knott's Berry Farm. Like, was that like?
And I don't know why. When I was talking to her about this episode, I want to watch it. Yeah, I want to watch it.
Well, her family, cool. She grew up like somewhat near this, right?
Yeah,
way more near than we did.
They used to go to. I mean, they made a thing every year out of Knott's Scary Farm.
Oh wow!
As well, yeah.
Okay.
So
it's too bad she's not here. We could have.
I mean, she was more of I would say, a Disneyland person.
Mm-hmm.
Because she would leave. I mean, she lived in an area where you could ditch the last 2 periods of class, go with your friends, and get to Disneyland, ride a few rides, and leave. Because everyone had the pass.
Yeah, man. We can't relate.
Not
being
at all.
This far away.
At all.
It is a all-day, if not multi-day thing to even make it worth it. But
it's really not that far. But if it's over, I would say if you're coming over 2 hours away, you're staying the night.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Knott's Berry Farm being even further for us probably is part of the reason we didn't go. But I got to say, like, it's funny how little this segment has to do with the amusement park side of it. Mm-hmm. And maybe as a kid, I would have thought this was super bogus stuff, like not wanting to be any part of this ghost town that you heard about the clip. This is all I'd want to see now. Like, it seems so cool because this actually is real ghost town buildings that Mr. Knott, I can't remember his...
It's almost like meta history.
Yeah. Because you heard in the clip that it started as a legit berry stand where it was just a dude, like a farmer, selling his berries into the restaurant, the chicken dinner restaurant, into the ghost town, into the amusement park. Like, that's the trajectory. And, I mean, there's more to the story that we'll get into later, but Huell is really into the ghost town part of it. And...
yeah, I mean,
what do you... the fact that it is meta history and it's lasted this long, because it's still like a good chunk of this is still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing that people are going to it still. You think?
I think so. I mean,
because there's lots of legit ghost towns around, and you don't see a bunch of kids like hanging out. I guess you got to put a roller coaster next to it to like get them there.
True. That, I mean, that's, to me, I'm like I said, I'm ignorant of this as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing about Knott's Berry Farm, but this was not what I was expecting at all.
No.
There is one thing that I thought was interesting that I think Marion mentioned. Is that
one of the daughters of the original Knott couple.
Right.
I didn't catch. Did you catch the dude's name?
The dude's name?
Yeah.
No. The blacksmith?
No.
Oh.
Their dad, the guy who started it.
Oh.
They kept calling him Mr. Knott.
Darn it. Yeah.
We can look it up. Hold on.
This is amazing.
Oh, Walter and Cordelia Knott.
It's funny you said Cordelia.
Yeah.
When I heard Huell say it, maybe it was the volume. Maybe there's some background noise in the house.
What did you think?
I could have swore he said Gordita.
No way. Oh, man.
That was the first thing I heard.
Either way.
It just triggered my memory.
Yeah. So, their daughters, Marion and the other one, whose name did they say?
Virginia.
Virginia, that's right. They're giving the tour of the ghost town area and kind of just giving Huell a pretty basic tour and a little bit of family history of what it was like from their perspective being kids growing up in this funny place.
Which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Got some bad news about those two, though.
Who?
Marion
Walter?
and Virginia.
Because, I mean...
Well, they're super dead. Yeah, the parents, they're just like...
Cordelia died in the 70s. Like she's been gone a while.
Yeah, she's been gone a while. But
I got a little bit about Walter too, but hit the daughters
so
first.
Marion died December 13th, 2014 at 92 years old.
Oh man.
And she was the baby
Mm-hmm.
of the family. Okay? So Virginia Knott Bender,
Yeah.
she died January 26, 2013 at 90. I'm telling you, dude, this bloodline,
What is going on
it's
here?
crazy.
We definitely don't have those kinds of genes
No.
in us. But
What, 62? All right.
I know,
Time
right?
to check out. It's like, wait, what?
So the daughters here at this point in 1995, when we're seeing Huell at Knott's Berry Farm, they are in charge of it. Like their parents were already either gone with the mother or their father, Walter. He kind of got disillusioned with the whole thing after his wife died.
Oh.
So he was a little aloof about it, let the daughters take over, and he got more into political issues. And he was,
Are there any examples?
well, he was part of the John Birch Society.
Oh.
So that tells
cool.
you what he was up to instead of running Knott's Berry Farm. But he was like a big proponent of Reagan and
Right.
that kind of stuff. So that's what he was all hanging out doing. The daughters, at this point, you can tell they're very nostalgic about it, but they're also in the 90s, obviously pretty up there. And they hung around for another decade and a half, but
True. Yeah.
I'll tell you what happened with Old Knott's Berry Farm in a little bit.
Okay.
But one thing, there are these demonstrations, which we see like around, what is it, about 19 and a half minutes in. Huell and the daughters are walking up on the blacksmith demonstration that's happening.
But just walking up, right? Not interrupting it?
Oh, yeah, that's not what Huell does. The blacksmith, dude, he's like straight up just sitting down on the ground listening to this blacksmith. Huell just walks right up and stops the whole thing. I mean, obviously he did include the kids in it. He talks to Huell's always so
He
weird.
just
with kids.
crashed it, I know. So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing that's going on, it's like history, but then it turned into its own history. We called it meta history.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Kern County Museum could be like Knott's Berry Farm? So we should
Wow.
explain the Kern County Museum.
Yeah.
It's a similar concept where there are physical structures, like historical structures that are on the premises
Yeah.
that relate to Kern County history.
Yeah.
They own a lot of land.
Yeah. It's interesting because Kern County also has like kind of, because the same way that these are real historical buildings, but they've been repurposed into this way, the Kern County Museum also does that, and a number of other museums that I've looked into where they bring in a historical building. So let's say it's, Weldon's first dentist office or something. But then they'll dress it up to look like an optometrist from Oildale. I don't get why they do that. I've never understood that. But I see that they're doing it in a way to kind of make kids get excited about it. Because, I mean, we
Yeah.
went on field trips there.
Yeah.
They have, like, History Day celebrations where people are dressed in period clothes and explaining things. So I don't necessarily like that they repurpose these buildings, but I get it. And it's same
Right.
deal with Knott's Berry Farm. Obviously, you could probably look into what each of the buildings were, but the fact that it's all Calico this, Calico that, like Calico's a real ghost town. You could just go to the real Calico. It's funny, but
Well, because it got me thinking, it's something we didn't talk about initially,
Mm-hmm.
is that everything was free until
Oh,
1968.
Yeah.
That's what Marion tells us. And then she mentions that, the chicken dinners weren't free,
No,
which is what Gordita was making.
the chicken gorditas. Yeah.
So, and then Marion also says that we had to offer more if people were going to be paying for this.
Yeah, that's when they got into like the more amusement parky part of
I
it.
thought that was interesting, part of the history.
So the chicken dinner part of it, that's like a whole other thing that gets mentioned in this episode a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Which is still, it's like totally a thing. Like I've talked to my mom about it, other people who went there. Has Kathleen mentioned the chicken dinners?
No, I should ask her though.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Obviously, that was kind of the claim to fame of the place that kind of started this whole thing. And the restaurant's still there. They renovated it like 3 years ago. And it's still the same old recipe that old Gordita made up a long time ago. And it's crazy that even back in like the 60s, they were throwing out 9,000 of these a day.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and they've renovated this place. It's funny. I was looking at the Yelp account for the chicken dinner restaurant, and someone said that, oh, it's great. It doesn't have that water smell in it anymore. Because I guess it's right next to the water park of like the Kern Splash or whatever, or Knott's Splash, whatever. And they've added a bar and other things. But yeah, that's kind of the next place that Huell goes in the show is the chicken dinner restaurant.
Well, before we get there, though, can we go back to when we met Betty?
Yeah, that's where we are right now.
The
kitchen supervisor, Betty
No,
Collier?
it's just before that.
Okay, yeah.
The lady who was 80 years old, and she had been working there for...
Oh, the school marm?
Yeah, school marm.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to her because she's carrying a water jug. And that water jug, I
noticed
so many gallons of water out of that when I was playing soccer. That exact same one.
Dude, okay. I just put this together too, that same kind of water jug. So when Erin and I got together, she knew that I clean pools. It's part of what I do, especially in the summer. Well, days are numbered on my pool cleaning days, but as
that's
a
because
girlfriend
it's getting cooler over time in Bakersfield. That's
right.
why.
She was worried that I wasn't having enough water, which I always did. I've been doing it for a long time. But she wanted me to have what her dad used to have, because her dad was a mailman. And it was one of those.
It was one of these guys?
And she found one and bought. I have it at work.
That's awesome.
It's a big old, like, 1.5 foot long cylinder of water. It's like a keg of water. Totally, man.
Okay. Now,
you gonna bring this
dude?
up? I guess we can't.
We debated on this,
Yeah.
if we should or not. Okay, if you're watching the video, crank it to 22 minutes and just watch the lady's right hand.
Because in the left hand, she has the water jug we were just talking about.
Just watch her right hand and just make whatever judgment you want.
Right.
Because
it's floating near uncharted territory. We'll leave it at that.
well, you be the judge.
Yeah. So yeah, after we leave her, we meet some other employees. It's cool stuff. Like, it's very kind of familial. Like, oh, my dad used to deliver groceries to the Knotts, and now I'm here. Isn't that cool? Like, it is cool stuff, but these chicken dinners, man. When you see it on the plate in the show here, I mean, it's fried chicken and mashed potatoes. Like, I don't...
You don't get it?
I don't get it. Enough to where I gotta try it.
It's funny because I had the opposite reaction. I said, that looks great. I don't remember the last time I had that kind of dinner.
Oh, same, for sure.
So,
especially, like, mostly not eating meat.
But I'm guessing it's like $12.
That's more than that, dude.
It's more than that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, I'll just go to KFC.
I mean...
Or is Church's Chicken still around?
Totally. Either way, if we do go to Knott's Berry Farm, we should try it. And for anyone like Erin, who is of the non-meat persuasion, there's a whole vegan menu there too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
maybe we can do this. Maybe we can not even go inside, eat the chicken dinner, and then we'll go to the Ripley's Believe It or Not museum.
Is that a thing over there? Wow. Okay.
I feel no. That's in the same area. I went to Medieval Times.
See, I've always heard of that place. I didn't even know it was a real thing. I thought it was a thing that like TV shows made up.
Oh yeah, because he did the whole hawk thing they do at the beginning.
Yeah,
and the hawk did not come back to him.
Where'd it go?
It flew to the rafters.
Just
And
hung
they had to
out?
stop the show for 5 minutes. They had to do this whole thing to get the hawk.
Okay, so it's
So-
definitely a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
All right. So one of the last interactions of the show, Huell is having his chicken dinner, and he's roasting the daughters because they're not eating it, and they're like, "Oh, we've had a ton of these," but they got these really fake-looking salads. Like these are such the kind of fake-looking salad you'd see on the top of a salad bar to show you it's the salad bar. I mean, obviously they're real, but it is a very
Dude, salads gross me out. Now, can I tell you why?
You just shocked me. I've never heard anyone say that. I don't know this about
I just look
you.
at salads. No, the romaine lettuce outbreak. Not even romaine lettuce. I think it was lettuce, just in general. It was most recently romaine.
Mm-hmm.
But lettuce is always sketchy.
How
To
so?
me, the risk of eating a piece of lettuce is not worth the benefit.
Are you talking about
I
like
accrue
the
from it.
coli stuff?
Yeah. I ate at what I consider to be the safest place to eat, and that's In-N-Out.
Yeah.
I got lettuce. Kathleen didn't. Food poisoning. I
See,
lost my faith in humanity at that point when it comes, lettuce. So,
it's funny though because it's actually the beef in the burger that's what essentially did cause that E. coli to happen because of the
romaine deal?
yeah the runoff from.
No, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, who knows? But
Either way,
I don't like lettuce.
that's
Sorry.
fine. Like whatever you need to tell yourself.
It does nothing for me.
Okay, I think you can continue to live your life without eating lettuce and be just fine.
I just might do that.
You already have. So I dug into the whole Knott's Berry Farm of today thing because, yeah, I was getting all psyched on all of this stuff, wanting to know, like, is it all still the same? Because it has been a while. Short answer is no.
What's different?
Well, the Knott sisters sold the whole dang place.
Oh, so they're not owners.
Yeah. Knott's is not owned by any Knotts. Yeah, they sold it to a big old amusement company back in 2003, and that's why Knott's Berry Farm has lots of new big old crazy roller coasters, much more than it did back in this time when Huell was there. And other changes have happened, like a lot of the Ghost Town part is still the same, but parts of it have been moved. Like some of the least or less popular things have been moved outside of the park along this, like, kind of how there's like downtown Disney where you don't have to go in the park.
Oh, yeah.
Something similar is what it sounds like. But yeah, I guess a number of things have changed. One of the weirder things is, they made themselves famous for being a berry farm. They sold all of the food rights and everything to the Smucker's company.
Oh.
So I don't know if it's like still the same stuff, but just with the different company owning it or what, but doesn't sound like it.
So it's just Knott's Berry Farm in name only.
Yeah. In
kinda
fact,
hollowed out.
one thing I read is that when the daughters were getting ready to sell, one of the offers on the table was from Disney. And Disney was going to buy it and make it a park called Disney's America Park or something like that. And they said no, because they were afraid that too many things would change.
Whoops.
Yeah. I mean, again, we've never been...
Well, do you want to go now, even though it's nothing like...
I don't want to say it's nothing like, because I actually looked at some kind of like walkthrough videos on YouTube, and a lot of that Ghost Town stuff is still very similar. In fact, they have these like, it was a thing called Ghost Town Alive, where they have tons of actors come in and like play the role of the barkeeper and there was already a blacksmith, but every building had a bunch of people walking around doing a whole performance, and you walk around and talk to everyone, and they tell you to go talk to old Smitty, the graveyard attendant or something stupid like that. And that sounded cool, and I could like go there and just do that and be perfectly happy, I think.
Okay.
Because you're not going to go on any roller coasters.
Mm-mm.
Apparently I'm not anymore either. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you're pretty hardcore for a while. I think you could go on a medium size.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't even know what kind of rides they have. What if I'm in line for a ride and it's like 50 loops with nothing but a string holding you on? I'm all freaked out. Either way, we should go.
Yeah.
Kathleen likes it. Aaron's been once. Said
I
she'd
think
want to
we
go.
should go get off the podcast, but
Oh, we should do that too because we're about at the end of this episode.
we should go though.
To the park. Should we go to the Graber house on the way?
Yeah.
Just make it. We should do this stuff before we start the episode.
I know.
In fact, it's funny because remember when we were talking to Steven earlier this week, he said that we should meet him and Lindsay to do this recording. He's always wanting some excuse to go look at the eastern San Joaquin Valley and all the little valley towns. I don't blame him. I like it too.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Well, where are we going next week?
Oh, boy. We are going back to Camp Pendleton in San Diego to see where thousands of Vietnamese refugees lived in a tent city. In the did I say 1970s already?
Yeah.
Well, it was in the 70s when it happened. So
Makes sense. Vietnam War.
True. Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
That's probably why they were here.
And then we go to Sherman Indian High School in Riverside, and we see a school that has educated Native Americans for almost a century.
Yeah.
And that is a very specific episode called Important Places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets into some not so nice parts of history, and it's going to get us into the debate that a number of people have had about Huell, where he kind of washes over more negative parts of history, and we are definitely not that way personally, and we'll talk more about that too, about Huell's decisions.
Hey, man, this is your area, so
You're right there with me, man. But yeah, I like talking about Vietnam. I like talking about Native American stuff. But the one thing we got to talk about now is that event that I talked about in the beginning of the episode, because I didn't know this was going on. I found out about it on Facebook while commenting on some Huell thing. Apparently at the La Quinta Museum in La Quinta, California, down in the Palm Desert area, they have this thing called Lunch Break with Huell.
What does that mean?
What that means is that every fourth Wednesday at noon, you can bring your lunch and enjoy an episode of California's Gold on their big screen, and they provide cookies and water.
So, would you like a big screen? Is it a tube TV? Or
That's what I imagined too.
Like a projector,
like
TV?
those big rear projection TVs. That's what I was thinking too.
Because I watched Mike Tyson bite off Evander Holyfield's ear at Gold Rush Pizza on my dad's shoulders.
That is such a specific memory. Yeah, I doubt it's those TVs.
Okay.
But either way, they apparently do this every month at noon. What did I say? Every fourth Wednesday of the month.
Oh, okay.
And as you can imagine, they're showing a lot of episodes that have to do with that area. And the next one, this coming Wednesday, the 23rd, the following Wednesday, is about the polo fields, the Empire Polo Fields where Coachella takes place now. And, man, why can't our museum do this? It's such a cool idea.
Well, I guess we could beat the change we want to see.
Right. Dang. Either way, put that on your calendar. If you live in the area, go check out the La Quinta Museum. I haven't been there. I like a good museum. I like Huell-related things.
Let's go. I mean, it's on a Wednesday. It makes it a little difficult.
Oh,
but
true.
Yeah.
Hey, summers, though.
Why don't we just do it here? It'd be easier.
Okay.
to get it going here.
All right, La Quinta Museum. You do you, but we're stealing your idea.
We do we. Yeah.
Okay. Either way, check that out. I'll put a link in the description. Go do Huell stuff. Hang out with Huell. But we need you to come along with us next week and every week. As we continue
our
search for Huell's Gold.